Hi everyone. I'm going to show you a really fun technique, which is to cut to the beat of music much more quickly than you would do if you were doing it manually. So I have this music in a sound and empty audio one track here. Okay, so here's the music. Let's just take a look at how I've set everything up. So as you can see, I'm calling this Penton underscore Jennifer underscore cutting to the beat underscore today's date, video track one. Okay. Now there are some things to keep in mind. I'm going to use markers and I'm going to tap M on my keyboard to the beat of the music. Okay. Now it's important that the music is not highlighted. I don't want it to be white. I want it to be green like this. Okay. Because if it is highlighted, it's going to put the markers, usually it will put the markers down here and then it won't work. So I want to make sure the markers go up here. So that's one thing to be very careful of. Okay. So let's just take a look at my organization. I noticed there was, you want to really make sure you're as organized as possible. So as you can see, we've got 00 sequences, and here's my sequence, which is this sequence. Then I've got 01 footage, and 02 audio, which is this 80s skyline, which has a good beat. That's why I'm using it to illustrate this for this tutorial. Now, if you look in my footage bin, you'll notice that I have it set up as icon view. And the reason for that, and I'm going to make this bigger, so I'm going to hit the tilde button, is that I didn't have that many images. And so what I did was I highlighted them and I used edit, duplicate to duplicate them twice. So I have three images of the same, of each, three versions, three copies, I should say, or duplicates of each clip. Had I left them in list view, the clips would be next to each other and this would not work. So you really want to do this in icon view. So that's another tip. So make sure that you use icon view if you need to duplicate your clips. Once again, to duplicate them, you would highlight all of them and edit, duplicate, keep them in icon view, and they won't be right next to each other by name. Okay, so that's another important thing. I'm going to hit the tilde button again. Let's make sure I'm in here. Tilde. Okay, so as you can see, I've got everything set up. You'll notice that the music did clip, which I don't want. I can adjust this later. I can adjust it now. Maybe I'll just bring it down a little bit so I can make sure it doesn't clip, but I actually do want you to hear it. So I'll keep it a little louder. Okay, so I have my playhead at the beginning. Remember, I don't want this to be highlighted, so I click outside of the music. And I'm going to hit the space bar or L to play forward. And then I'm going to start tapping to the beat. Okay, and I'm going to tap a lot so that you can see how fun and amazing this can be. So here I go. Okay, so that ought to cover what we're going to learn today. So let's see how this works. Now I'm going to put my playhead back in the beginning, and I'm going to use automate to sequence. Okay, so I'm going to now make sure you've highlighted all of your clips. That's important as well because those are the clips that are going to go in to V1. Okay, notice that the clips are selected here. That V1 on the left, which is of course the clips in the project panel in bin 1 footage. This is selected. I don't want their audio, so I do not have that selected, but I also have an override. So let's look at automate to sequence and you'll see I want to ignore their audio. So make sure that's checked. Ignore audio. So ordering selection order. So it's going to start with this clip to that clip to that clip, etc. And we're going to placement is at unnumbered markers, which are up here. If they were down here, it would not work. So remember, you don't want to select this music clip while you're clicking on the markers. Method is going to be overwrite edit. Use we don't have any stills, but you would be able to play around with how those were used if you did have stills. And that should be it. So use in and out range is going to be controlled by the markers. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And there they are. It didn't go to, so as you can see, here's the problem. I still need a lot more clips. Okay, this is all the clips that I selected. Let's just take a look at them. Let's see, make sure they are all selected. Yep, they're all selected. So I would need a lot more clips to make this really look cool. Let's take a look here. Okay, so this is what I have. Now you'll notice that in a few spots, there is black in between a clip. And that is because the clip was too short. It's a very short clip. So what I can do here is I can use the rate stretch tool, which is under ripple edit. So if I were in ripple edit, I would click, hold, grab rate stretch. And that's really what this is for. And just drag it out. It's going to be slightly slower, but it really doesn't matter because I'm using it to cut to the beat. There's one more over here, and there may be a few more. Let's just see. But as you can see, I just saved myself a lot of time. Okay, there's one little clip here. There's one thing here that isn't showing. It's starting off as black. So what I could do here is I could just grab another clip from somewhere else and just place it in the front. It's a little bit weird in the beginning when you are using markers, but let's take a look and see what we have. I'm just going to bring it up here and let's play it. All right, very cool. I'm going to try to see what would happen if I bring my playhead back here and then automate to sequence again at this point. Let's make sure that snapping is on. There we go. Or of course I can hit the up arrow. And let's try automating to sequence again. And let's zoom out so we can see this. Okay, so I have my playhead here. Let's try it. Yes, that did work. Now, what you'll notice here is that where I stopped with my markers, it just automatically put those clips into the timeline at their actual length. Okay, so now you see some of them are a lot longer, some of them are a lot shorter, and that could be something you might want to use as well. So you don't have to use markers. You can automate to sequence by just grabbing some clips and telling Premiere to automate them into the sequence. Of course, you can also grab them and just drag them in, but that's another tool which is really helpful for putting a bunch of clips into the timeline at once. So pretty cool. Oh, and by the way, if it's giving you this little, you know, I can't do this little icon right here like this, just move around until it will work. Also, you can adjust the height of the track and zoom in a little bit, and that will help you better be able to use the rate stretch tool. As you can see now, it's working better. So I think that's it. Let's just take a look here though and see what happens at this point. So let's just see. I'm going to play it one more time so you can see it. Okay, so now it starts to fall apart. But anyway, that shows you how markers can be really cool. One more thing I was just going to mention. It's you can always adjust these once you put them in. Once again, you can then do any kind of manual thing you want to with it. And it's a really fun way to cut to the beat, makes it much, much faster. And there you have it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And remember, for this exercise, you do not have to cut to the beat. This is an extra credit assignment that I made this for. Now, if I'm using this later on, I might have different directions, but just for now, you don't have to cut to the beat. But try to, because it's a lot of fun. All right. Enjoy.